Record. There we go. Now we're recording. So hey everyone, welcome to the first Culturally Creative Travel virtual happy hour. And I have a drink. I hope you have something. We have got Andrew on that side with Holland America, and we got Charlotte on that side. Where's my finger? There's my finger. Charlotte on that side with GOGO Vacations. We're talking, and that's all we're doing. We have no crystal balls. We have no magic 8 balls. But I wanted to get the word out there and let people know that travel is going to happen at some point in some time. Again, we are going to be allowed to get out from beyond our 4 walls and out from beyond our backyards and go do stuff and see stuff again. So I've invited these two wonderful people to join me, and so I'm going to just kick it off. Charlotte, talk to me. You know, GOGO Vacations, it's land-based all the week. We can do cruises with you guys too.
Yeah.
But it's primarily land-based hotel trips, and we've got some tours. What are you seeing that people are booking? What are you seeing people getting excited about right now?
I can tell you that very excited. We did not have a point to where there were no bookings coming in, like just totally no bookings. I kind of expected to see that probably the first week of March. And instead, that's when a lot of the people were shuffling, trying to decide, you know, are they going to go? What's the consequences? So I'm happy to say that very optimistic. We are seeing groups being booked. We are seeing people that are booking their travel even for June and July, August, and for 2021, of course, several weddings that we were able to rebook. I can tell you that we had over 100 groups. We have more, but as of last Friday, 100 groups, we were able to rebook them and get those people what they needed, and that's taken care of. So we have
fabulous.
More to go, but that kind of tells you where the pulse is there. So that's exciting, and that's just
and these are groups that were already on the calendar, or are these brand new?
These were current groups that were probably in March, April, May, maybe in June, and we were able to literally save the sale. These people did the right thing and they chose not to cancel. They chose to rebook, and these were groups. And we have many more that are wanting to do that. It's just, you guys can only imagine how we have to work with our vendors and all that. And so far, I can speak for Mexico, Caribbean for sure. For the most part, all of our vendors have just been really great, helping us all, because we know it's going to come back. And if my gut's right, it will come back with a vengeance. So yeah. I just want you guys to know that, you know, I'm making this up. You know, if we were receiving 1.5 million, you know, a day, we might have been receiving, you know, probably a third of that. But it has never not stopped coming in with bookings. So that's exciting for us, and that we're able to rebook and accommodate people to go again. Of course, yes, we had some people that canceled and strictly wanted refunds, understandable. But for the most part, positive side of that, it was not just a total shut off. So that makes me feel confident. And every day we have on our workplace, we have, it's called GOGO Strong, and every sale counts. Anybody that makes a sale, they post it over there. And it really, it has made this exciting, and I get to see it, and I get to, you know, thank my advisor that actually booked that, and thank them for their hard work and everything. And obviously, if it's one of my agents, then I'm reaching out to them too. But it's been a positive thing, and we finally, I think this week is the first week that there's been some time for agents. You know, they've had time. The first 2 weeks were very, for all of us on both sides, just very chaotic and very time consuming to get to the needs that we needed to go to.
And what are you seeing that are the new bookings? What are you seeing the destinations that people are looking at? What are people getting excited about?
Well, a lot of it is Mexico and Caribbean, but we're also seeing some in Europe as well, France, Greece, We actually just had a cruise a pretty big booking for a cruise that's going on in October of 2021. So it's a little bit of everything. We're not just seeing, for us, just one destination. It's truly been all over. And again, I think that's the optimism of people are like, whenever this gets done, I'm going. And, you know, I kind of feel like maybe not everybody's going out of the country. I definitely think that they're going to be going somewhere, even if it's in the United States, because of the length that we have been homebound.
Now, Andrew, and just for the people who've been joining us late, you know, Charlotte's with GOGO Vacations, mostly land-based hotels, resorts, all kinds of wonderful trips, independent trips, group trips. Andrew is with Holland America Cruise Lines. I'm going to throw you to the wolves just a little bit, Andrew, because the cruise line industry has gotten a really big black eye in the media of late, and I think undeservedly so. So let's talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, because Holland sails the world. I mean, you sail Southeast Asia, you sail Mediterranean, you sail Caribbean, Alaska, everything else. But because the cruise lines have been in the media so much due to the current situation, the cruise lines, I mean, the cruise ships are clean. I mean, I always see people cleaning these things, and talk to me a little bit about how important cleanliness and sanitation is on board ships and just on normal circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Now keep in mind that this is all, you know, the thing. I mean, what I'll talk about is pre all of the craziness that's been happening.
Right.
You know, we several years ago, you know, if you've cruised on Holland America Line ship in the last 3 or 4 years, you've seen a redesign of our ships, specifically in our, what we used to call our Lido buffet is now called a marketplace, and it's much more, it's not so much self-serve anymore. So several years ago, proactively, we took the measures to, you know, combat any type of airborne illness on our ships by retrofitting or reconfiguring what we call our marketplace. But, you know, with Holland America Line, we've always scored very, very high on the surprise inspections when we're in ports. You know, for those that may not be aware, the cruise lines, the cruise ships are subject to twice a year surprise inspections by the Coast Guard. And they come in and they spend the entire day going through everything in the ship, from cleanliness to maintenance logs to everything. And we've fortunately scored very, very well. In fact, one of our ships has scored a perfect 100 the last 11 years in a row. So we're super proud of that. You know, the cruise industry has been hit extremely hard, of course, you know, because I think the media has picked up on several people or several ships being out there still with guests on them. You know, so they've really focused heavily on the cruise side of it in the media, unfortunately. But I think, you know, a lot what Charlotte was saying is there is a huge pent-up demand, and we're seeing enormous strides in 2021. And it's not just one particular destination, it's all over the world. Can you guys see me? It seems like
your camera keeps coming in and out. We can still hear you. I don't know if you've got a bad internet connection or...
I had a really strong one. It's very strange. So I'm not sure. Well, anyway, so I'll talk. You guys kind of know what I look like.
We can still hear you.
Okay, good. So, I mean, we are seeing people are already wanting to book. You're seeing, there was an article that came out today, and I can't remember which source it came from, but it was saying, and through surveys of talking with guests that typically cruise, about 70% are all ready to book their next cruise. They're going to continue to cruise. And of those 70%, 15 or so percent said that they were going to be cruising even more than before, that they feel more comfortable after the way that things have been handled within the cruise industry to be able to go on those sailings. Personally, I mean, I think, you know, what you'll see, in my opinion, again, throughout the remainder of 2020, as we get back in service, you'll probably see people taking shorter distanced trips from their home, meaning more local based or more not having to travel overseas, so to speak, to go on a cruise. And then you'll see that change in 2021 as the airlines come back up and new procedures are put into place by the CDC and new guidelines by the airlines industry and all of that. I think as we continue to evolve and move forward from COVID-19, we'll see a lot. It's going to take a while to build back travelers' confidence in not just the travel industry, but the world as a whole. So that's what we're kind of experiencing.
So it sounds like the Caribbean for you guys, and maybe even Alaska. And
I think Alaska, you'll see Alaska, Canada, New England, the Caribbean, and those are and Mexican Riviera are more of our close to home destinations that offer the 7 to 10 night sailings. I hopefully that's where we'll start back up. I'm guessing. I really don't have any insight on how we're going to start back up, but we're certainly looking forward to starting cruising again. That's for sure.
Fabulous. We've had several people join us. Just to keep things as civil as possible, I've just got Charla, Andrew, myself opened up on the microphone. If you have a question for myself, for Charla, for Andrew, feel free to pop in on the chat box or raise your hand and I'll get you unmuted. I see Chuck Chuck was first. Let me see, Chuck, if I can get you unmuted here. Where are you? There you go. Unmute Chuck. And Chuck, I know, is dying to go to Italy right now. So, Chuck, what's your question?
Doug, as usual, picked a trip for us that's just unbelievable. I want to go, but it's a month. It's too soon from now, and I don't have any faith that it's going to happen. But it was an exciting trip, and I just am curious. Are there something? Are there some new destinations coming, or something geared to people who are getting up there in years and their ankles and knees aren't used to climbing up and down steps and so forth? It's more of a flatland place,
Andrew, I'm going to start with you on this one because we had Chuck and his wife booked on a wonderful Mediterranean cruise for late June that's in jeopardy. So I'll let you get started.
Yeah, Chuck, that's a great question. I think to answer your question, I don't have a whole lot of information on new destinations. I think it's going to be an evolving process as we get back to operating, and we're going to see how not only travelers respond, but also how the world responds and cruise ports start opening up. So I think it's kind of a little premature, unfortunately, to answer that question. But I definitely see new destinations as a result, or new opportunities to cruise to new places coming up out of all of this.
Charlie, you got any input there for Chuck?
There's a lot of places focused in Europe that it just depends on. I know compared to a cruise and far as the excursions, a lot of those, as far as land and air, we actually have that as well. And I'm going to actually probably say that as far as tours and things like that, and for the older adults, there's so much to do in different places that I do think that you have a choice, and you shouldn't have to, some of those excursions that I say that require a hike. it's a hike. I think there's choices out there that maybe you don't have to do that, just myself knowing what product that we have. So I definitely think there's options out there, but I also think that if it's something that if Doug put it together, and I can assure you that it's probably a dream trip, and I don't think you should lose sight of that. And if you're concerned about some of that, I'm pretty sure Doug can help you, reaccommodate some of those excursions or something. But I don't know, like Andrew says, as far as new different destinations too for us, I think that we will see, now realize that most of us, I believe, are here in Texas, so we're very close to Mexico, Caribbean. It's very quick there, so that's why I say that. And the United States, I will have to wait and see, because I also have friends that have told me they have their trips booked to Europe now, like they're going in, they're saying we're going in November. And I'm like, okay, so there is so many unknowns with this unbelievable situation. And it's, for the first 2 weeks, I don't know about you guys, but fluid was not even a word that I used in my conversation. But I certainly learned how to use it in those first 2 weeks of March, because everything was just changing by the hour, because everybody was just trying to do their best to help all of us in the travel industry. And we still continue to get some different things as time goes on. So some of the unknowns are they're unknowns. We don't know.
Yeah, and I think, to piggyback on that, a lot of it is going to be tied into what happens with the airline industry and where they start servicing first. I think a lot of it will be tied to that as well.
Yeah. New destination. I mean, the world hasn't changed. I mean, the destinations that we travel to hasn't changed. It's just when we can go where. And I know Kathy and I have a big trip this summer to France, southern France, and that's in July. We're still, as of right now, planning to go, and haven't made those changes. Oh, I will say this: I haven't bought my air tickets yet, because I'm waiting. I'm playing the game and see if the airline tickets go down just a wee little more. Just come on, $200-300 more. I'd really get it. Jay has been waving his hand at me. Let me find you, Jay. Unmute. All right.
May I ask a stupid question?
No such thing as stupid questions, Jay.
I highly doubt it's stupid, so just ask it.
Well, I've been on 12 to 14 cruises in my life, and I love cruises. But with all this going on, I would like to put my money into America. I'm sorry that sounds bad, but as a veteran and trying to get, I just want to help the American economy. I've been to Canada, Niagara Falls. Oh my gosh, I'm lost as to how many places I've gone, but I love cruises. I love it. Oh, wishy, and the cruises when the little people, that's racist. They're squishing your hand with hand sanitizers. It's been on for years. No worries. I understand. And my brother and I were going with a group of 50 people to Greece and the Greek islands with a bunch of AC contractors, air conditioning contractors, and 80% of the people said, we ain't going. Well, I didn't comment, but I'm screwed. So we're not going. But I called my brother and I said, let's do something, brother. He's my middle brother. I'm 70 years old. And he's not that old because I'm the old brother, but I want to do something in America. Is that weird?
I don't know that it's weird, Jay. And there's a lot of opportunities, and Charlie, I'll come to you here in a second, but there's a lot of opportunities for travel in America, whether you're on a cruise ship or whether you do a land-based trip. We've got a number of river cruises on the Mississippi that are available. I mean, like a number of different options on the Mississippi.
I need to do that.
You've got the Hudson River up in New York. You've got the Snake and Columbia River and on the West Coast. That's a fabulous trip. And then
cool.
Wanted to do a big boat cruise. There's obviously, I know you've been to Alaska, but I think, I don't personally think you've been to Alaska enough.
Yes, sir.
So there's a lot of cruise opportunities here in the United States. Charlotte, what for domestic vacations, what are you recommending to people?
You know what I'm thinking is our Blue Roads touring. They have 4 itineraries in the US. And when I tell you that this is luxury without the price, now it is not on a cruise, but everything is taken care of.
Charlotte, I don't think everybody knows. I don't think everybody knows what Blue Roads Touring is. I know what it is, and I honestly, I totally forgot they had a domestic product entirely. But go ahead and give a little.
I'll share with you. Blue Roads Touring. First of all, I'm with GOGO Vacations. We are actually owned by Flight Centre, which Centre is spelled CENTRE. It's an Australian company, and they have corporate travel. Multiple companies that Flight Centre owns, but it's out of Australia. GOGO is one of them. Another one is also Blue Roads Touring, and it is a really boutique tour operator. And when I tell you boutique, they have Mercedes vans. The most that can fit on it are 14 people. So that's the most you're going to have in your group, period. And it's very boutique. You stay at boutique properties. You don't stay at the chain hotels. It used to be called, and I don't know if some of you may remember, it used to be called Backroads. However, our owner, which Australian, he is a cyclist, rides bicycles, and he competes. And there's a company in the US, if you don't know, and it's called Backroads, and it's for cycling and some other things. So he did not want to take them to court and fight for the name of Backroads. So we changed our name to Blue Roads Touring. So it's very unique. There is not a product out there like this product. So when you say the US, that's immediately what I thought of. And especially when you're saying older too. I know Chuck was saying that. This is, and it's—
We're going to say mature. We're not going to say old. We're going to say mature traveler.
Yes.
Right.
Well, yeah. That's what I've told my mom. I know I'm getting old when I use the word elderly.
So,
but that's one of the products that I mean, and I don't know who all are all agents on here, but it's a hidden gem. And not only, we have 4 great itineraries in the US, 2 on the West Coast. I know we have a New England one. We have one in the Southwest. But there's 4 different itineraries, and it's just an incredible product. And you will have, not only for yourself, you will have repeat clients, and it's a guaranteed result. So, and obviously they go to Europe, they go to Asia as well, all over the UK and in Asia. But when you said that, just right off the top of my head, because of kind of what's going on, it is a very, is a great product, and some really great itineraries that no one else out there has the type of itineraries that this company has.
Jay, I will get you some additional information on their itinerary.
All right,
Charlie and
brother.
Andrew, these are all clients and friends that are joining us. The only agent
Sure.
that's logged
I
in right
like
now
to be
is Kathy.
catered
So,
to, Doug.
I'm
Well,
sorry,
you
Jay.
you're
know,
gonna love this.
I like to be catered to. I like the good food, some wines, and
I think we can take care of
not
you, Jay.
being
Yeah.
jacked with. Okay.
I think we
All
can take
right.
care. You know,
I'm sure you can,
totally forgot that Blue Roads even had a domestic tour operation, and I've not personally experienced the product. With everything I've read about the product, I love the fact that they're a small group tour. What are they?
All right.
Total 8, 12 people?
It's 14, and they're really nice Mercedes vans that you're on, and your porterage, everything. Like I tell you, it's a boutique tour operator with luxury. It's a luxury product, but it doesn't have the luxury price.
So I will definitely follow up with you, Jay,
It's
on
excellent.
some information.
All right,
about
brother.
that.
All right.
For anybody else have any questions? Now, there's a few people like Barbara and David, and there's somebody whose name's not coming up. This is coming up as a number. I can't see your picture, so if let's see if we can enable.
I know the number's different too.
Yeah. So if you've got a question, feel free to come up in the chat box with a question. That's for either Andrew with Holland America or Charla with GOGO Vacations. We'd love to try to answer your questions. If we can't can't see you, if I can see you, I see Margaret and I see Michelle. If you guys have got questions, feel free to raise your hands and I'll unmute you. Barbara, I can't see your camera. Hopefully you can. you're able to hear everybody. Let me just unmute you real quick, Barbara. Barbara, can you hear me?
I can.
Fabulous. How are you doing today? How are you hanging in there?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let's see.
Just got a bike ride.
I'm sorry, say again?
Got in from a bike ride. It was wonderful.
Oh, how nice. How nice. And, what's the weather like where you're? Barbara's not in Texas. You're
74 degrees in Minnesota.
how's the weather right now?
Hey,
Terrific.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I'm enjoying it.
Love that. Love to hear that. What else is new? We've got, I mean, I'm climbing the walls, guys. I'm ready to go.
I just talked to one of my friends that's in the industry, and we were looking at we have this game, like if we can get a deal, okay? And it's not so much like price, it's just what we think. And that's another thing out there for those of you that are on the call. And I know Doug can help you with this, is there's some unheard of airfares out there if you've ever just thought about going somewhere, and certainly like in the United States even.
Oh, I think I saw Southwest had some crazy low
$47, $49, and $57. And my friend's already booked a trip to Tampa. She's booked a trip to Baltimore. And there's one other one. And it was just because she's going to be ready to bolt when all this is. And that's what I mean. So maybe we can't all do, 7 and 10 nights, and maybe we can't go out of the country. But there are so many things that we can do. And that it's not going to break the bank, because I know with all of us that are in travel, just like our small businesses around us have suffered a lot from this, and many have been furloughed and things. So, I don't know, another unknown, as we say, is if this is truly going to be, the recession and all that. I still think there's ways for people to get out and to travel, even if it's just a 3-day weekend or something like that. So don't ever think that it's not reachable because you need to have all this money. Let Doug assist you in that, because there's some things out there that we've never seen that are out there now. And even if it is just in the United States, it's kind of a peace of mind for you to know that you have some little something to look forward to.
Yeah, I like to tell people all the time, I work with your budget. Everybody's got a budget, whether it's $2,000 or $2 million. Yeah, I love to work on the $2 million projects, but if you only got $2,000, let's be realistic with what you can do. But let's give you an opportunity to get out, go see the world. Whether it's a long weekend, let's pick on Texas. Let's do a long weekend in the Hill Country. Some wonderful properties in the Hill Country to go stay at. Dude ranches. Go into in New Orleans. It's only 6 hours from here. 7 if you take I-90, and I recommend I-90 because I-10 through Baton Rouge is a pain in the took us. But New Orleans, you want to talk about a fantastic town to spend time in. And that's an easy weekend for folks, at least from the central Houston area. So yeah, let me know what your budgets are, and I'll be happy to work with you wherever you're at. I'm here to work for you, with you, be your advocate. That's my job. Andrew, you keep coming in and out. We keep losing your video. You still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm not sure what's going on. I think AT&T has decided to throttle me for the rest of the month because I've been streaming too much, I guess.
Oh,
we got Michelle. Michelle's got a question. Let me unmute you, Michelle.
okay.
Let me unmute you.
But I'm here, so King did it, I think.
Michelle, can you unmute yourself? It's not letting me unmute you. There you go.
So if we want to schedule a trip for, I don't know, August, are you saying pick a date and then just buy travel insurance, or what are you doing?
Well,
we don't know how long.
I always recommend travel insurance on any trip, just because Murphy never takes a vacation and you don't know what's going to happen. Now, depending on what kind of travel insurance you buy will determine on what kind of coverage you'll have.
But like you just said, those airline tickets that are super cheap right now, when are those for? And I mean, what's the deal on that?
Well, some of them are for 14 days ahead, first of all, 14 days in advance. And then I know this one they have now is good through maybe either today might be the last day. And then you'll see it in a couple more days, they'll run another one. So usually it's for 48 hours, but the travel is not short windowed. There's different things. So that's why I'm saying, if you've always wanted to go to San Francisco, or if you always wanted to go to DC or something, you know, pick 3 places, let Doug look into it, and see what he can find, and then you can decide. And some of those fares, I mean, yeah, if it was $57, I'm probably not going to, you know, purchase that. But I purchase the travel insurance when I do a round trip ticket to Colorado Springs. It might be $200, but I don't have that $200 to throw in the trash.
Right.
And there are no refunds in travel. And it's interesting that as U.S. citizens, that we insure everything that we own or that we have, even our electronics. But when it comes to an investment of our own hard-earned money, many people have difficulty of insuring it. And if you didn't learn anything by what's going on with this crisis, and that is you need an advocate for you, which is a travel advisor. They're not just an agent. I call them a travel advisor. And you need protection. And there's all different kinds of it out there. And I think that that's another reason why you need your travel advisors, because they're going to guide you to what you need. And you have them for whatever you need from start to finish, all the way till you come back home. A lot of these booking direct and things like that, I can tell you some stories. I probably don't need to, but it's been very difficult to get help through some of those avenues. And you don't need to do that. It doesn't cost you any extra to use a travel agent. It does not. So, and like I say, some of the airfares, I'm pretty sure that Doug's gonna not book anything that's totally, most of them now allow you can see some of our the policies today, as of today, they're allowing that change. You're able to change, or 48 hours prior, 24. I mean, he would definitely let you know if a fare was great, but here's what we've got to do, and here's the rules of it. So there are some restrictions, but for the most part, these airlines are really, and all of them, I won't just speak for U.S. carriers. There's a lot of them out there that are really doing what they can for all of us that want to travel, to make that possible and not be fearful of booking and something else happens. So, you know, our new normal is we're here. I mean, we really are. I don't know. Another unknown is if we'll, depending on the industry, go back to what it was. I know there's going to be a lot of different changes for our industry, which is going to be better and make us all better as well. But I know from the consumer standpoint, if anybody's been paying attention, it's truly the value of a travel advisor. You can't put a dollar amount on it. So to answer your question, Michelle, I say if you're thinking of anything, just give Doug a budget and just say, hey, do you think we can go somewhere for this? Give him 3 or 4 cities. And even if you just did a couple of nights there and you got good airfare, it's just something for you to look forward to. And then he can take care of the rest as far as making sure that it's protected, or if it can't be, he's going to be upfront about that. But
I'm gonna jump in here for just a second, because you said something, Charla, that I've been complaining about within my own circle of friends, is that if watching the news media, we can't see past the nose on our face. I mean, the news media doesn't want us thinking about past next Tuesday right now. And travel in general is a future thing. It's a future event. We're always looking 3, 6, 9 months, maybe a year out for our next trip, whether it's a small one or a big one. And we need to remind people that what we're in right now is a short-term situation. Now, I have no crystal ball. I have no magic 8 ball. I'm having to follow the same government directions that everybody else is about staying at home right now and limiting our going out and everything else. But we know that this is going to eventually come to an end, and we will be able to resume life as close to normal as possible. So, you know, let's keep dreaming. And if that means having a conversation about travel in August or September of this year, or if it means having a conversation about travel in January or February of next year, you know, so, oh my God, wintertime's a fantastic time to go, to get out and to go travel. And if you, especially if you don't have kids, there's some wonderful opportunities to go travel in the wintertime, and you know, you not face the crowds because all the kids are in school. So
And I'll piggyback on that, Doug. They're going to have some great, especially in a lot of our Mexico Caribbean. You're going to see some incredible, our partners and things like that, helping you get to where you need to go, and like no other. And so that's another thing. Maybe you can't go in the 90 days. It's uncertainty, like Doug says. Or even if, you know, for Andrew, maybe you don't want to go on a cruise. You can't go on a cruise, you know, through the end of the year. But you can certainly look forward to something in, you know, 6 months or 7 or 8 months out and start working towards that. Because like Doug said, this is truly, this whole thing is temporary, and we're all going to get through it. But you don't have to just shut something down and just not do it at all. Don't give up on your dreams, and don't give up on making something happen. It may not be ideal that you'd planned for it, but do something, because there's going to be some really good deals out there coming out just as soon as this corner turns.
Andrew, talk to me real quick about 2021. I mean, you're 2021's open for you guys, right?
Yeah, we've got sailings opened all through 2021 and even into 2022. And like I mentioned earlier, I mean, we're seeing an incredible demand already for 2021. So if you're even, I mean, I've been telling people, you know, we've got our richest promotions going on right now. I know that we don't want to think about promotions and all this, but we really do. That goes through the end of June. And I'm telling people now, if you think that you want to go somewhere next year on a cruise, just go ahead and book it now. You're just going to pay a small deposit. Make sure you add the you know, either book a fully refundable deposit or take out the cruise protection plan so that you're covered. I mean, our particular plan, and I can only speak for us because every supplier has their own plan that they offer. Our particular plan covered everyone during this during the COVID-19. We have in there to cover for these types of disasters. Some insurance companies don't, or some suppliers don't. So it's important that you understand what you're buying when you're looking at insurance as well, or cruise protection, or whatever the vacation protection plan might be. Make sure you understand the ins and outs, and that's what, you know, Doug spends a lot of time educating himself to learn about all the different things out there so that you don't have to do all the research and he can. So main thing is have that, you know, keep an open mind about those types of things. And remember, think of it as an investment, and then have that conversation and be candid and open with Doug on what your particular situation might be. Maybe there's some pre-existing conditions that you're concerned with. You don't necessarily have to go into specifics about what that is, but at least if he's aware, he can make sure that he's matching you up with the right product.
Yeah, and I'll add this too, especially when it comes to cruises, because let's face it, there's only so many cabins on board a cruise ship.
Right.
There's only so much space on a particular sailing, and most cruise ships, even when they're sailing full, they're limited. And I know with Holland America's got they don't have anything bigger than a mid-sized ship, so they're not as big as some of the larger ships out there. If there's an itinerary you're interested in, let's start a conversation now and see what's out there, what's available. Texans, and I know not everybody on this call is a Texan, but Texans have a really bad habit of waiting to the last minute. And we need to break that habit, because we run into problems every single time we wait to the last minute, because you're not going to get a deal at the last minute. You're going to run into, can I even get on board the ship? Can I get the room that I want at the hotel or at the resort I want? You know, you may want that really high-end oceanfront swim up suite at a Mexican resort. Well, you're booking 2 weeks out, they're gone. So let's start that conversation. Even if we're talking 2021, let's have that conversation now.
Right. And you know, the other thing is you don't know what the supply is going to be in 2021. So if you know that it's there now, you're better to book now versus, there could be some operators that are not operating next year, or there could be some hotels that are not open next year yet. Maybe they're not ready to. There's lots of different things that could be, unfortunately, the fallout from what the crisis that we're going through. And,
Margaret, you got a question.
No, actually my book club is meeting in a few minutes, so I have to on Zoom, so I have to sign off so that I can sign in with them.
Well,
But
thanks, Margaret, for joining us.
Yes.
I'm so glad you were able to spend some time with us this afternoon.
yes, I've already got my plans for this year, but I'm thinking about what I want to do for 2021 and then 2022. I take tours and I travel alone because my friends are all married and they want to either go with their husbands or they don't want to go where I want to go. So at some point I'll reach out to you. I wrote down the name of Blue Roads Touring.
Yes. Yeah.
To learn more about tours. And I do something every year, and my list of places that I want to go is getting longer rather than shorter. So I'll be
Yeah, that's
back
my
in
problem.
touch.
You should see my bucket list. It grows daily being in this industry.
Okay, this has been good. I'll talk to you again someday.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon, and we'll talk about 2021 and 2022 tour travel options with you.
Sounds good. And if people are looking for like a 3-day, 3-night trip, I live outside Boston. It's a great place just staying in Boston, wearing sneakers. You never have to leave town, and it's a very walkable city.
Oh, there's some
So-
fantastic cities
love
in
Boston.
Boston and the Northeast that are just wonderful to go visit. Lots of history. Spend a long weekend. If
Yeah.
someone wants to do just a series of 3-day stays or 4-day stays throughout the country,
Yes,
Boston, New York, San
DC.
Fran, San Antonio,
yes.
we will
Yep.
hook you up. And yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to do that.
And normally I would tell people, don't come to Boston in the spring or the summer because there are too many tourists. Well, this year there won't be tourists, and the kids are all back are out of school. They're all at home. We have a curfew in Boston from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. So no one's in town. It's a good time to visit. Only bad part is that the hotels are expensive. But wear sneakers. You don't have to check your luggage when you fly here. It's just a great city to walk around. Okay, thank you very
Fabulous,
much.
Margaret. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
joining us.
Margaret.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for joining us.
And happy travels, everyone.
All right. Anybody else have any questions for either Charla, myself, or Andrew? I'll tell you what, I'm just going to unmute everybody. See if I can unmute everybody here. Unmute all. And I think Michelle's got herself muted still. So if you wanted to chime in, Michelle. So I'm just going to open it up. We're about 10 minutes or about 5:45 now. So, I want to be respectful of everybody's time, but I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I mean, this has been the first one of these that I've done, and I hope you've learned something. I've learned something. And while we can't see each other, we can at least try to do this. So anybody out there want to say anything? Everybody's got mic is open.
I have a question. What is I've heard of Columbia River, but what do you see on it? What do you do on the Columbia River?
So it's the Columbia and Snake Rivers combined up in Washington State, Washington and Oregon. It's the Lewis and Clark Trail. So if you're into history, it's some wonderful history there. I believe there's a number of vineyards too that are available to go see. You'll sail through a couple of canyons. I can get you more information, Chuck, on that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Chuck, it's beautiful up there. It's a for sure. That's a must do.
That's part of the country Joni and I have not seen is Washington, Oregon,
Beautiful.
that part. parts. We were in Vancouver and what's that? Windsor,
British Columbia?
British Columbia,
Yeah.
Victoria?
Victoria. Yeah, and I have to say, Doug did a great job on that trip. That was fun. We made friends with folks from Australia, and we're still in touch with them several years later. It's just wonderful.
Yeah,
But,
the Aussies are great. I always have a good time whenever I'm around a bunch of Aussies.
see, I agree with Jay Warren that with all the things that have happened in our country, we ought to be spending our money here. And as much as I wanted to be in that Italy, France trip, I think it's a better idea to keep our money home and because you don't know what's over there in Italy and France. What they've suffered a lot, and I know they have, and I know they'd like to have our dollars, but
We need
we're
them too.
50 states, and we ought to go see them all before we're gone.
There's a whole lot to see and do in this country. There's the national parks. There's the fabulous historic cities. There's a number of national monuments. And we have people come into this country all the time to go see the stuff that we take for granted. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with traveling in our own backyard and seeing what we live in a continental country, and most of us barely get out beyond 60 miles from our house. That's a great idea, Chuck. I love it. Let's go see what's here and really take advantage of what we tend to gloss over and miss in our own backyard.
All right, sounds great. Doug, and thank everybody for their time today. It was very interesting. Gives me hope of something to do than just look at them. Michelle and I are tired of putting little numbers and little boxes on pieces of paper.
That's right.
I
That's
get it.
right.
All right, thank y'all very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming, Chuck.
Good Chuck.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Hey, we will do this again. Probably maybe in a couple of weeks. We'll find as much as I love Charla and Andrew. We'll find some other people to talk to.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll bring on some domestic river cruise representatives, and we can talk, and some domestic tour representatives, and we can talk about some domestic travel opportunities. So thanks again for everybody for
Sounds
showing
good.
up.
Thank
This
you.
has been recorded.
Bye-bye.
I will be putting it out on the
Thank you.
website and on
Thank
Facebook
you, Doug.
when I figure out how. And if you need anything, even if it's just 10 minutes of, hey, I want to talk about something other than little numbers and little bitty boxes, my phone's there. So hope to talk to everybody soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Doug.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Cheers.
guys.
Hey, Charla. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, hon.
Hey.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry, my video. I don't know what's going on. I keep getting alerts that I need to upgrade my Zoom, and I think that's why it's
They
got
have
my
done some
video.
upgrades, Andrew, in the last 48 hours
Yeah,
due to security. So maybe that's probably
that's
it.
what it keeps